In the middle of a loud and chaotic office, where phones ring nonstop and deadlines loom like storm clouds, it is easy to forget that work is not meant to drain life from us. For many people, the workplace becomes a source of stress, anxiety, and even conflict. We begin each day with a cup of coffee and a to-do list, but as the hours pass, frustrations mount, tempers flare, and we find ourselves overwhelmed by things that, in hindsight, are not truly important. It is in this high-pressure atmosphere that Richard Carlson's message comes as a breath of fresh air. Richard Carlson, the author of Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, was not just a psychologist or a self-help writer, he was a teacher of peace in an impatient world. Known best for his best-selling book Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and It's All Small Stuff, Carlson spent his career helping people see that most of life's irritations are just that small stuff. In this particular book, he brings that same philosophy into the workplace, a setting where calmness and clarity are often the first casualties of a busy day. Carlson's message is simple, but deeply powerful. He teaches us that our experience at work is not shaped solely by what happens to us, but by how we respond to it. The coworker who talks too loudly on the phone, the boss who overlooks your efforts, the email that rubs you the wrong way, these are everyday workplace events. But the stress they cause comes not from the events themselves, but from the meaning we attach to them and the way we choose to respond. Consider a common scenario. A young professional, driven and dedicated, finds herself growing resentful because her manager seems to favor a colleague. Every meeting becomes a battle in her mind. Every success of the colleague feels like a personal failure. Her work suffers, her mood darkens, and she begins to dread each morning. Yet, from the outside, nothing substantial has changed. The real shift has happened inside her. Carlson would say she is sweating the small stuff. This book does not suggest that problems at work are imaginary or that people should simply smile through genuine challenges. Rather, it teaches how to distinguish between what truly deserves your energy and what can be released with a deep breath and a shift in perspective. Through short, insightful chapters, Carlson shows how most of what we stress over, missed deadlines, miscommunications, rude emails, unfair feedback, is not worth the emotional toll we give it. The wisdom in Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work is not abstract or philosophical. It is deeply practical. Carlson offers tools and reminders that you can use in real situations. He reminds you to pause before reacting, to listen more than you speak, to avoid jumping to conclusions, and to remember that everyone is human, even the colleague who tests your patience or the boss who seems unreasonable. These lessons are not about becoming passive. They are about becoming resilient, thoughtful, and grounded. The relevance of this book has only grown with time. Today's workplaces are more complex than ever. There are tight schedules, endless virtual meetings, rapid changes in roles, and increased demands for performance. The line between work and personal life has blurred, especially with remote jobs. In such a fast-moving environment, many people feel they are constantly running, constantly reacting, and constantly one small issue away from burnout. Carlson's voice, in contrast, is calm and centered. He urges you to slow down. He reminds you that peace is possible, even during your busiest day. He explains that being productive does not mean being frantic, and being successful does not require sacrificing your inner well-being. Take, for example, the story of a seasoned project manager in a major technology company. She was skilled and respected, but she often left work feeling exhausted and emotionally drained. Every unexpected request, every complaint from a client, every small error by her team felt like a crisis. After reading Carlson's book, she began to make simple changes. She took a few minutes each morning to breathe and ground herself before checking her emails. She began choosing not to respond immediately to every irritation. Slowly, she noticed a change. She still faced the same challenges, but they no longer controlled her peace of mind. That is the power of Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work. It does not promise to eliminate all difficulties. Instead, it offers a new lens through which to view them. It helps you build the kind of mental and emotional resilience that turns a stressful workday into a manageable one, and a difficult week into a period of learning and growth. As we begin this journey through the insights of Richard Carlson, remember this: you have more control over your experience of work than you think. You cannot always change your job, your boss, or your colleagues. But you can change how you show up each day. You can learn to stay calm when things get hectic. You can learn to be kind, even when others are not. And you can learn to let go of the small stuff that steals your energy and joy. In the following sections, We will explore key themes from the book: perspective, ego, priorities, compassion, and peace. Through stories, real-life examples, and Carlson's timeless advice, you will discover how to transform the way you work without changing your job or career path. Welcome to Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, presented by Books Arena. Let us begin. Part 1, Changing Your Perspective at Work. In a towering office building in downtown Chicago, a financial analyst named Priya starts her Monday morning like many others do by opening her overflowing inbox. The first email is a request to revise a report she submitted last week. The tone is slightly curt. The second message contains a meeting invite for a project she was not consulted about. Then comes a message from a colleague asking about a task they could have easily completed themselves. Within just 15 minutes, Priya feels disrespected, overlooked, and burdened. Her heart rate increases, her shoulders tense, and the entire week already feels ruined. This is the moment Richard Carlson speaks directly to. In Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, he explains that how we perceive events at work has more impact on our stress levels than the events themselves. Carlson's first lesson is clear: we must learn to change our perspective. It is not always the workload that is the problem. It is the mental narrative we create around it. Carlson believed that most of our workplace stress does not come from major events. It comes from small, daily annoyances that we allow to build into mountains. A delayed reply from a manager, a coworker who talks too loudly, a printer that stops working right before a presentation — none of these are life-altering. But when we react emotionally, these small things can dominate our mood, disrupt our focus, and even affect our relationships. Changing your perspective begins with recognizing that not everything requires a strong emotional response. Think about how much energy we spend being offended or irritated. The colleague who interrupts you may not mean any harm. The manager who seems short in an email might just be tired. Carlson reminds us that assuming positive intent, or at least giving others the benefit of the doubt, can free us from unnecessary emotional strain. Let us consider the story of Jason, a customer service representative in a retail company. Every day, he faced customers who were angry, demanding, and at times even insulting. At first, Jason took every complaint personally. He would go home angry and exhausted. Over time, he began to apply one of Carlson's key insights: people do what they do, and it does not have to ruin your day. Jason started imagining that each frustrated caller was just having a bad day, not attacking him personally. He listened without reacting, spoke calmly, and stopped absorbing the emotional baggage of others. His days improved, not because his customers changed, but because he did. Carlson also invites us to question the stories we tell ourselves. When something happens at work, our minds often race to worst-case scenarios. A cryptic message from a supervisor becomes a sign that we are in trouble. Being left out of a meeting means we are no longer valued. But most of the time, these interpretations are wrong. By choosing not to jump to conclusions, we protect our peace of mind. A practical example comes from Susan, a marketing coordinator in a mid-sized firm. One afternoon, she presented her campaign ideas to the senior team. She expected enthusiasm, but the room was quiet. For days, she replayed the meeting in her head, convinced she had failed. But when her supervisor finally spoke to her, he praised her creativity and explained that the team had been silent only because they were considering how to implement her ideas. The emotional roller coaster she experienced was entirely self-generated. Carlson's advice could have saved her days of needless worry: do not sweat the silence, give space for understanding to unfold. Changing perspective also involves learning to pause. Often, we react to small annoyances without thinking. Someone takes credit for our idea, and we fire back. A colleague makes a sarcastic comment, and we hold a grudge. But a pause, just a few seconds to breathe, reflect, and choose a response can transform the moment. This pause is not weakness. It is strength. One of Carlson's most powerful reminders is this: you can be right, or you can be at peace. In many workplace conflicts, we fight for the last word, the recognition, the victory in a small debate. But what do we gain? Often, the stress and tension are not worth the outcome. Perspective means understanding that letting go is not giving up, it is choosing what matters more. Another example is from a software development team working on a tight deadline. Two developers, Ravi and Lila, disagreed on a coding approach. The disagreement escalated, and their collaboration broke down. Ravi, after reflecting on Carlson's principles, decided to step back. He told Lila he was willing to try her approach first and re-evaluate after testing. This small gesture shifted the tone of their relationship. Lila responded with openness, and they found a better solution together. The project succeeded, not because one person won, but because someone chose peace over pride. At its core, Carlson's message in this part of the book is simple but profound: your peace at work is determined not by your environment, but by your perception of it. The moment you stop letting small things control your emotions, you reclaim your sense of control and well-being. As we continue our journey through Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work on Books Arena, keep this thought in mind: stress often begins in the mind, not the job description. By choosing calm over chaos, and understanding over assumption, you take the first step toward a workplace experience that is both productive and peaceful. In the next part, we will explore how letting go of ego and the need to control everything can transform your workday and your relationships. Part 2, Letting Go of the Ego and Control. Imagine a mid-level manager named Arun working in a well-known multinational company. He is smart, organized, and passionate about delivering the best results. However, he finds himself constantly frustrated. His team does not follow instructions exactly the way he wants, his peers do not always agree with his methods, and his superiors sometimes take decisions without consulting him. Every time something does not go his way, Arun feels slighted or disrespected. Over time, this emotional tension begins to affect his health, relationships, and ability to enjoy his work. What Arun does not realize is that it is not the job that is wearing him down. It is his ego and his desire to control everything. In Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, Richard Carlson explores this very human tendency. The need to be right, to be seen, and to be in control can create enormous stress in our professional lives. Carlson teaches that letting go of ego is not about giving up your value, it is about protecting your peace. Many people tie their self-worth to their performance at work. A delayed response from a boss feels like rejection. A coworker's success feels like competition. A minor criticism feels like a personal attack. When the ego is in charge, even neutral or ordinary situations begin to feel threatening. Carlson emphasizes that ego thrives on conflict and comparison. It wants to win, to prove, to dominate. And in the workplace, this shows up in subtle ways. It is the impulse to correct someone in a meeting just to show that you know better. It is the frustration you feel when someone else is praised for an idea you had first. It is the refusal to delegate because you believe no one else can do it as well as you can. These are everyday habits that may seem small but accumulate into stress, isolation, and burnout. Let us consider the story of Mira, an experienced creative director at an advertising agency. She was known for her attention to detail and high standards. But her team found it difficult to work with her. She would redo their work, micromanage every project, and take over presentations. Her intentions were good, she wanted everything to be excellent, but her need for control left her team feeling untrusted and demotivated. When Mira read Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, one line struck her deeply: sometimes, the best thing you can do is let others shine. She began making conscious changes. Instead of correcting every slide, she asked team members to explain their design choices. Instead of jumping in during meetings, she allowed others to lead. Slowly, not only did her team improve, but she also felt a surprising sense of relief. Letting go of control had not made her irrelevant, it had made her more effective and respected. Carlson encourages us to ask a powerful question: is it more important to be in control, or to create peace and growth? Many times, we hold on tightly to roles, rules, or expectations because we believe that only we can ensure success. But in doing so, we often block the natural flow of collaboration and creativity. Let us look at another example. During a corporate merger, two departments had to integrate under one leadership. The department heads, Neeraj and Suman, had very different working styles. Neeraj valued structure and efficiency, while Suman was more flexible and people-oriented. At first, their meetings were tense. Each wanted their system to dominate. Eventually, Neeraj realized that their clash was more about ego than logic. He invited Suman to co-design a new workflow instead of choosing one over the other. This act of humility opened a door to dialogue, and they created a hybrid model that outperformed both original systems. Letting go of ego also means not taking everything personally. Not every comment is a judgment. Not every decision is about you. Workplaces are filled with people, each dealing with their own challenges. When we stop assuming that every slight is deliberate, we free ourselves from needless resentment. Carlson reminds us, people act the way they act, not because of you, but because of them. This simple truth can dissolve hours of overthinking. Another powerful shift comes from trusting others. Many professionals, especially high achievers, struggle with delegation. They believe it is easier to do things themselves than to explain, wait, or risk imperfection. But by trying to control everything, they not only exhaust themselves, they also rob others of the chance to grow. Carlson suggests that perfectionism is often just fear in disguise, and that true leadership is not about doing more but about empowering others to do well. Consider the case of Radhika, a senior HR consultant. She prided herself on planning flawless corporate events. Every detail was in her hands. One day, due to a health emergency, she had to step away and leave the planning to a junior associate. To her surprise, the event went smoothly, and some guests even appreciated the fresh energy brought by the new team member. That moment changed Radhika's leadership style forever. She learned that excellence could be shared and that letting go could be liberating. Richard Carlson does not suggest that we stop caring about results or accept mediocrity. Rather, he invites us to shift from control to collaboration, from ego to awareness, from fear to trust. The goal is not to win every argument or prove every point, but to build a life and a workplace where peace, creativity, and mutual respect can thrive. As we continue our journey through Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, remember this truth: you do not have to control everything to lead, and you do not have to be right to be respected. The most powerful professionals are not those who command every detail but those who create space for others to contribute and for themselves to breathe. In the next part, we will explore how to focus on what truly matters in your work life and avoid being pulled into distractions and drama. Part 3, Focusing on What Truly Matters. In the heart of Mumbai's financial district, Nikhil works as a team lead in a growing startup. His calendar is packed with back-to-back meetings, and he is constantly checking his phone between tasks. His team often seeks his input, clients keep him updated every hour, and internal updates flood his inbox. At the end of each day, he feels mentally drained but also strangely unfulfilled. Despite being busy from morning to evening, Nikhil realizes that he has not completed any meaningful task in weeks. This is a familiar situation for many professionals today. In Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, Richard Carlson calls attention to this trap of constant busyness. He explains that many people confuse being active with being effective. The real question is not how much you are doing, but what you are choosing to focus on. If your day is filled with shallow tasks, interruptions, and office politics, you may be working hard but not making progress where it truly matters. Carlson encourages readers to clarify what is essential. Every workplace has a mix of tasks, some critical, others routine. Some are valuable, and others are distractions disguised as obligations. Professionals who succeed in both performance and peace are those who learn to identify their priorities and gently let go of the rest. Let us consider the story of Ananya, a school administrator at a reputed private institution. She was constantly overwhelmed responding to dozens of emails, coordinating events, and handling minor complaints. She was efficient, but always tired. After reading Carlson's book, she decided to implement one simple idea: identify the 3 most important things she could do each day to move the school forward. She began each morning by writing down those 3 priorities. Everything else was scheduled around them or delegated. Within weeks, she felt a shift. She had more energy, greater satisfaction, and, most importantly, a sense of purpose. Carlson also discusses the importance of saying no, a skill many professionals struggle with. The desire to be liked, seen as cooperative, or remain visible often leads people to say yes to every request. But each yes comes at a cost. When you agree to something that is not aligned with your role or goals, you are saying no to time, focus, and mental peace. Learning to say no politely but firmly is one of the most powerful habits for professional clarity. Take the case of Deepak, an IT consultant who was respected in his company but also known for being a yes man. He accepted every last-minute assignment and joined every meeting he was invited to, even if he was not required. His productivity began to decline, and his stress increased. After reflecting on Carlson's insights, Deepak started evaluating each request through a simple question: is this helping me do my job better, or is it just keeping me busy? This shift allowed him to focus on his core work, improve his performance, and restore his peace of mind. Another major distraction in the workplace is drama, gossip, office politics, personal conflicts, and power games. Carlson explains that these often feel urgent but are rarely important. Getting involved in such matters not only wastes time but also poisons the emotional atmosphere of work. Avoiding drama does not mean avoiding people. It means choosing meaningful connection over emotional entanglement. Consider Shruti, a content strategist in a media company. She was known for her storytelling skills but was often dragged into team conflicts. One coworker would constantly complain about others, trying to gain sympathy. Initially, Shruti would listen and get involved. But over time, she noticed that these conversations left her feeling drained and distracted. Following Carlson's advice, she started excusing herself from such discussions, redirecting the conversation to work, or simply staying neutral. Soon, she found herself with more time, more focus, and fewer emotional ups and downs. Carlson also advises professionals to avoid perfectionism when it does not serve the goal. Many people spend enormous time refining something that is already good enough. This obsession with flawless results may seem like a strength, but it often leads to missed deadlines, burnout, and delayed progress. The key is to know when excellence is needed and when efficiency is more important. For example, Ramesh, a corporate trainer, would spend hours polishing his slides, adjusting fonts, and reorganizing content, even after the message was clear and effective. This perfectionism often meant he had to work late nights and redo materials that were already good. After adopting Carlson's mindset, he began setting clear limits, a time block to finish the slide deck, then move on. His work quality remained high, but his energy levels and free time improved dramatically. One of Carlson's most practical suggestions is to create blocks of uninterrupted time for your most important work. He recommends treating these periods as sacred. Turn off notifications, put your phone away, and let your colleagues know that you are in focus mode. These blocks, even if just 30 to 60 minutes a day, can dramatically increase productivity and reduce stress. This technique was life-changing for Tara, a product manager in a fast-paced tech company. She began reserving the first hour of each day for strategic planning and deep work. She protected this time by putting up a note on her desk and setting her phone on silent. During this period, she tackled the most mentally demanding tasks. The rest of her day became smoother, and her confidence soared. In the end, Carlson's message in this part of the book is not about working harder but working smarter and with intention. He urges readers to stop chasing every task, every email, and every minor demand. Instead, he encourages us to identify what truly moves the needle and focus there. Peace and productivity are not at odds. In fact, they often grow together when we stop wasting our energy on things that do not matter. As you reflect on this part of Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, ask yourself, what are the few things I do that create the most value? What can I stop doing to make space for what matters most? In the next part, we will explore how kindness and compassion in the workplace are not signs of weakness, but powerful forces that build stronger teams, better relationships, and a more fulfilling career. Part 4, Cultivating Compassion and Team Harmony. In a busy marketing agency in London, Sarah was known for her sharp mind and high standards. She expected excellence from her team and was often quick to point out mistakes. While her intentions were good, the atmosphere in the office was tense. Team members hesitated to ask questions or share ideas freely. Meetings were often filled with criticism, and collaboration suffered. Sarah believed that being tough was necessary to succeed, but over time, she began to notice burnout and low morale among her colleagues. Richard Carlson's Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work offers a different perspective, one that might have helped Sarah realize the power of compassion and kindness in the workplace. Carlson shows that being kind is not about being soft or letting others take advantage. Instead, it is about creating an environment where people feel valued, safe, and motivated to contribute their best. Compassion at work is a skill that can be cultivated intentionally. It starts with simple actions, listening attentively, acknowledging others' efforts, offering help without being asked, and choosing patience over judgment. These small acts can have a ripple effect, improving communication, trust, and ultimately, productivity. Consider the story of James, a team leader at a software company. One of his junior developers, Maya, was struggling with a challenging project and feeling overwhelmed. Instead of reprimanding her for missed deadlines, James took time to understand her challenges. He offered additional resources and adjusted timelines to reduce pressure. This act of empathy not only helped Maya regain confidence but also fostered loyalty and commitment. James learned that kindness does not slow down progress, it accelerates it. Carlson also stresses that compassion begins with self-kindness. Often, people are their own harshest critics at work. They beat themselves up for mistakes, worry about not being good enough, or push themselves beyond healthy limits. This internal stress affects performance and well-being. Practicing self-compassion means treating yourself with the same patience and understanding you would offer a friend. It means recognizing that errors are part of growth, and that your worth is not tied solely to your achievements. Take the example of Anita, a graphic designer who frequently stayed late to perfect her projects. She was critical of every flaw and feared failure. After reading Carlson's book, Anita started to give herself permission to do her best without demanding perfection. She took breaks, accepted constructive feedback without personalizing it, and celebrated small successes. This shift improved her creativity and joy at work. Team harmony also depends on creating a culture of respect and inclusivity. Carlson advises leaders and colleagues alike to avoid gossip, negative judgments, and cliques. Instead, fostering open communication, encouraging diverse opinions, and recognizing contributions helps build a strong, united team. Respect does not mean agreement on everything, it means valuing others' perspectives and treating everyone with dignity. In a multinational corporation, a manager named Carlos faced challenges integrating a diverse team with members from different cultural backgrounds. Instead of imposing his style, he invited team members to share their customs, work preferences, and communication styles. This openness created mutual understanding and respect. Team meetings became more collaborative, conflicts decreased, and performance improved. Carlos's leadership showed that compassion and cultural sensitivity are critical for modern teamwork. Another essential aspect Carlson highlights is forgiveness. In any workplace, mistakes and misunderstandings are inevitable. Holding grudges or replaying conflicts drains energy and poisons relationships. Choosing to forgive, not forgetting, but letting go of resentment, frees people to move forward and focus on shared goals. For example, Priya, a sales executive, had a falling out with a colleague over a project misunderstanding. For weeks, their interactions were cold and tense, affecting the entire team. After some reflection inspired by Carlson's insights, Priya decided to initiate a conversation. They cleared up the misunderstanding and agreed to work together respectfully. This act of forgiveness restored harmony and improved the team's results. Cultivating compassion also means recognizing the humanity in everyone. Everyone faces challenges, insecurities, and pressures. By remembering this, you can approach difficult interactions with empathy rather than frustration. Carlson writes, "Everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle." Keeping this in mind helps reduce judgment and increases patience. This approach transforms workplaces from battlegrounds into communities. It encourages cooperation over competition and support over suspicion. When kindness becomes a norm, people feel safer to express ideas, take risks, and innovate. In conclusion, Carlson's message in this part of the book is that compassion and kindness are not optional extras, they are foundational to success and satisfaction at work. They build trust, reduce conflict, and enhance well-being. Most importantly, they make work a place where people want to be. As you move forward with the insights from Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, ask yourself, how can I show more kindness today? How can I create harmony in my team? How can I be gentle with myself during stressful times? In the next part, we will explore how to create peace in the busiest environments by slowing down, practicing mindfulness, and finding calm amid chaos. Part 5, Creating Peace in a Busy Environment. In the bustling city of New York, where the pace never slows and deadlines seem to multiply endlessly, Emily works as a senior editor at a major publishing house. Her days are filled with constant interruptions, phone calls, emails, meetings, and last-minute changes. The pressure to deliver quickly and perfectly is relentless. Yet, amid this chaos, Emily has learned a secret that has transformed her experience: the ability to create peace within herself, regardless of external circumstances. Richard Carlson, in Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work, emphasizes that peace is not the absence of activity or challenges. Rather, it is a state of mind that can be cultivated even in the busiest environments. Carlson's teachings remind us that slowing down, pausing, and practicing mindfulness are not luxuries reserved for quiet retreats but essential tools for thriving in today's fast-paced workplaces. Consider the story of Michael, a project manager at a construction firm. He was constantly running from site to site, juggling budgets, client meetings, and staff issues. He often felt overwhelmed, anxious, and on the brink of burnout. After reading Carlson's book, Michael decided to try a simple practice. Each morning before work, he spent 5 minutes sitting quietly, focusing on his breath, and setting an intention for the day. This brief pause created a calm foundation that helped him respond to stress with greater clarity and patience. Michael's colleagues noticed his improved demeanor, and he felt more in control, even when things got hectic. Carlson encourages us to build moments of quiet into our daily routines. These moments act like a mental pause button, allowing us to step back from the whirlwind of tasks and emotions. Whether it is taking 3 deep breaths before answering a difficult email, pausing for a mindful sip of water, or simply closing your eyes for a minute during a break, these small acts of presence can dramatically reduce stress. Another powerful strategy Carlson shares is the importance of setting boundaries. In the digital age, work often follows us everywhere: emails after hours, notifications on our phones, and the expectation to always be available. This blurring of lines can make it hard to disconnect and recharge. Carlson advises creating clear boundaries around work time and personal time. For instance, turning off work notifications after a certain hour or designating a quiet space for focused work helps protect your mental energy. Emily, the editor, took this advice seriously. She started setting firm limits on after-hours work emails and communicated these boundaries to her team. Initially, she worried about seeming less dedicated, but the result was quite the opposite. Her productivity during work hours improved, and her stress levels dropped. Setting boundaries helped her maintain peace, balance, and better focus. Carlson also highlights the value of taking breaks and embracing stillness during the workday. It might seem counterintuitive, but stepping away from work for a few minutes can boost creativity, improve decision-making, and enhance resilience. He suggests using breaks to stretch, take a short walk, or simply breathe deeply and reset. In one example, Rajesh, an engineer, struggled with afternoon fatigue and declining focus. Inspired by Carlson's teaching, he began scheduling short breaks every 2 hours. During these breaks, he would step outside, breathe fresh air, and briefly disconnect from screens. Over time, Rajesh noticed increased energy and sharper concentration, allowing him to accomplish more with less stress. Mindfulness, or the practice of being fully present in the moment, is another key tool Carlson recommends. It can be as simple as paying attention to your breath, noticing sensations, or bringing awareness to your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Practicing mindfulness helps prevent reactive responses and cultivates calmness even in difficult situations. Take the example of Lisa, a customer support supervisor. Her team often faced angry clients and high-pressure demands. Lisa began practicing mindfulness techniques to manage her own stress. When a challenging call came, she would pause to take a deep breath before responding, allowing her to stay calm and professional. This practice not only improved her own experience but also modeled a constructive way for her team to handle stress. Carlson reminds us that peace at work is not about controlling every external factor but about controlling our inner environment. We cannot always change deadlines, difficult personalities, or unexpected problems, but we can change how we relate to them. He writes, "It is possible to live in the world without being consumed by it. This means learning to observe your thoughts and emotions without being swept away, practicing patience, and choosing responses that align with your values." Creating peace in a busy environment also involves simplifying where possible. Multitasking, overcommitting, and chasing every urgent task create mental clutter. Carlson suggests focusing on one thing at a time, saying no to unnecessary demands, and prioritizing what truly matters. This not only reduces stress but increases the quality of work and satisfaction. In conclusion, Carlson's teachings in this part offer a roadmap for finding calm amid the storm. By slowing down, setting boundaries, taking breaks, practicing mindfulness, and simplifying, you can create a sanctuary of peace inside yourself no matter how hectic your surroundings. As you reflect on "Don't sweat the small stuff at work," ask yourself, how can I bring more presence and calm into my workday? What small habits can I adopt to protect my peace? In the next and final part, we will summarize the key lessons of the book and explore how embracing these principles can transform not only your work but your life. As we reach the end of "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work," it is important to pause and reflect on the profound wisdom Richard Carlson has shared with us. In a world where the pace of work is faster than ever and pressures seem to multiply daily, Carlson's message serves as a vital reminder that peace, perspective, and compassion are not just nice-to-haves, they are essential to thriving at work. Throughout this journey, We have learned that much of the stress and frustration we experience on the job comes not from the work itself, but from how we respond to it. By changing our perspective, we gain the power to decide which battles are worth fighting and which are not. We see that letting go of ego and the need for control is not a weakness but a strength that creates space for collaboration, growth, and peace. We discovered that focusing on what truly matters, our priorities, our well-being, and our meaningful contributions allows us to cut through the noise of endless distractions and office drama. We saw how cultivating kindness and compassion can transform difficult relationships, build stronger teams, and create a workplace culture where everyone can flourish. Carlson's teachings on creating peace within ourselves, no matter how chaotic the environment, give us practical tools to slow down, breathe, and reset. Whether it is through mindfulness, setting boundaries, or taking intentional breaks, these practices help us protect our mental and emotional energy so that we can perform at our best without burning out. Consider the story of Anita, who learned to be gentle with herself and accept imperfection, or Michael, who found calm through a simple breathing practice before the workday began, or James, who inspired his team through empathy and patience. These real-life examples remind us that transformation is possible when we apply Carlson's principles with intention and consistency. The beauty of Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work lies in its simplicity and accessibility. The advice is straightforward and easy to integrate into daily life, yet the impact can be profound. It invites us to see work not as a source of endless stress but as an opportunity for growth, connection, and fulfillment. At Books Arena, we believe that books like this have the power to change lives by offering clarity and comfort in times of overwhelm. Carlson's message encourages us to pause, reflect, and choose peace even amid the deadlines, meetings, and challenges that define modern work. As you carry these lessons forward, remember that you have the ability to shape your experience at work. You cannot always control your circumstances, but you can control your attitude, your reactions, and your priorities. By embracing these principles, you create not only a more peaceful work life but also a more joyful and balanced existence. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work. May you find calm in the chaos, strength in letting go, and joy in focusing on what truly matters. This has been a presentation from Books Arena. Until next time, take care and keep growing.